All right. The first thing I want to say is that the judge of a federal high court, Justice Lehman, has laid it to rest that the David Mark-led executive leadership of ADC is duly elected. And so the position of the court now is that David Mark-led leadership is authentic and they are the ones in charge of ADC. That's settled. In the issue of the current ruling or judgment of the Court of Appeal, the issue that was decided was who has the power to conduct the state congresses. It has nothing to do with the leadership of David Mark. In other words, the leadership of the ADC. It has nothing to do with the primaries conducted by ADC. It was just decided based on who has the authority to conduct the state congresses. State congresses produce the state executive council. In other words, the leadership in the sub-unit, sub-head, in the internal organ of a political party. And as you may have understood, the majority judgment of the Court of Appeal said that the State Executive Council has the power to organize the State Congress, while the minority judgment stated the law as it is, in my own opinion, that the courts do not have jurisdiction whatsoever to interfere in the internal affairs of political parties. And the minority judgment actually stated the law as written in section 83 subsection 5 of the Electoral Act 2026 that made it clear that the courts do not have jurisdiction to entertain any matter that borders on internal affairs of a political party. Now, look at it as simple as it is. The issue of state executive council is even internal in itself, because as you can see, they don't even have the right by law to relate with INEC. The section 82, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2026, you know what it said? It's very clear. It said, the party shall give to the commission at least 21 days notice for any convention, conference, congress on the line, meeting, convened for the purpose of electing the governing bodies of political parties, electing the executive committees, or nominating the candidates of political parties or merger. So it is the party that has the right to relate with INEC on any issue that has to do with electing its officials. Look at subsection 2 of that section 82. It said that the party in that notice must indicate the time, venue, date, and names of the members of the committee, names of the members of the conference, convention, or congress committee that will organize the election in accordance with the party's constitution. So you see, even Electoral Act recognizes that it is the committee set up by the party that organizes state congresses, not the state executive council. It will be ridiculous. As a matter of fact, a court saying that the state executive council will organize the election that brings itself to power is against natural justice, equity, and good conscience. Natural justice forbids you to be a judge in your own cause. How can Tinubu, for instance, organize the election that brings Tinubu to power? It is really laughable. So I'm sorry to say that that judgment reflects what the Court of Appeal said recently: judicial rascality, judicial impertinence. Judicial rascality is a situation where courts or judges act recklessly, act very, very unethically, and capriciously to circumvent the law. It is a situation where the legal process is manipulated to serve ulterior or political motive rather than uphold justice. So you can see that by the letters of the law, justice is not being maintained by the courts when it has to do with opposition. Supreme Court has made it clear that you do not interfere in the internal affairs of political party. And when you do it, Supreme Court say is judicial impertinence. Judicial impertinence is a situation whereby a lower court brazenly disregards the order, the authority, the hierarchy of an appellate court. The appellate court has made it clear. So why would lower courts be ruling otherwise? That's judicial rascality. That's judicial impertinence. And we have to stop it. I want to plead that the judiciary should not lend itself to be used by the ruling party APC to litigate the opposition parties out of existence. That is what is going on. Nothing else. We don't have any problem here.